What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel and welcome to another video based on trains in Oddsparks. So I didn't really have a big huge plan or anything for this episode. I mostly just wanted to do it because a couple people in the comments were expressing some interest in one of the trains that I had set up. The train in question and its route are the one that I'm standing in the middle of right now. And the things I'd like to explain with it are the concepts, the execution, and kind of the reason why I even wanted to do it in the first place. So let's go ahead and get into what the whole point of this route is. So it starts here, and yeah, I haven't really embraced straight lines very much in my train stuff yet. I've got a couple that are kind of going in a straight line. Some of which you guys have seen me set up, and some of which you have not seen me set up because I've just kind of been doing them whenever. But anyway, let's go over the route that this one does. Starts off right here, and the way that this is designed is it's going to do a loading and an unloading in the same train station. That's why this is so long. It's actually got two different directions for the wagon loaders here. So this side on the right side is an unloading section, and what this unloads is raw ether, which you can see here in these two chests right here, or two big crates. And then I've also got wood that's loaded into here. And the reason why I've got wood loaded into here is, well, mostly just as an experiment, and because I wanted to get up 4 of these spark workbenches that are making stumpy sparks, which I'm going to be routing into various other, places in the factory and whatnot. But anyway, so that's the unloading side of things, and then there is the loading side of things, which is over here on the left. The way this works is it's feeding into, obviously, these 4 factories here, these little workbenches, and right now I can, until I get more wood into the system and stuff like that, I can get 3 out of 4 of these running somewhat consistently. Once the actual train makes its route around and drops off a little bit more wood, then it can get all 4 up and running. But yeah, this was mostly just because I wanted to try something. So anyway, that produces the stumpy sparks over here, which get dropped off into these little containers here, which these 2 are actually almost full, so that's fun. But then I've got it split up into a 1 to 4 splitter. Or I guess, what would this be? A 1 to 2 to 4 splitter to split evenly amongst 6 lanes, which, it is what it is. I tried to do this so that it was like one route on each, and then I just decided, yeah, this was not going to work the way that I wanted to, so I split up, I set up so that it would somewhat evenly distribute and then do that. It doesn't really matter. Again, more just little experiments that I was doing here and there. This route right here that's connected to it, that's just for wood to get put in, because there wasn't enough wood that I can do in one cargo or one wagon to supply this entire thing for very long, because each one of these workbenches takes 20 wood each, which the math isn't mathing if you wanted to have any real production. So I decided to kind of do a little thing where I would have wood from a tree over here, gather, and that gets brought over to this big crate here, and these guys will drop this off, and then this one will prioritize collection, dropping off into fuel, and then dropping off into more coal creation, and then when that is topped off, it then drops the excess into this crate, which will then get fed back into the system. But anyway, let's get into what else I'm doing with this station. I set up a furnace just for fueling this one train, so I didn't have to route into any other, pre-existing fueling routes. I think I've got this route over here, which is a fueling station, and then I've got another one over here. So this is also a fueling station. But, yeah, I didn't want to do that, so I set up its own fueling thing. But anyway, let's get into the logic here. Normally, when you're setting up a train stop, you are given three options for how you want your train station to function. It's either set up on a timer, which is from like 1 second all the way up to 30 seconds, which works for some things. I use it most of the time for my fueling stations. You've got loading mode, which means that the train will only depart the station if all of the wagons that are connected to the train have been loaded to 100% capacity, which is fine most of the time. Then you've also got unloading mode, which is the opposite of loading mode. You will not exit the station until all of your cargo wagons and trains and stuff like that are completely empty. So, for most of your applications, that will work out just fine. However, if you're using a setup like this, where you have loading and unloading in the exact same station, you need to set up something slightly more complicated. And I say slightly, but it did take me a little bit to figure this out. So the way it works is I've got capacity sensors for both wagons, because they're both going to be filled. The way this works is the ones on the left side for loading are set for percent, so not absolute value, percent, and then it's set for the greater than or equal to, or rather equal to or greater than. So once both of these carts that show up are at 100%, it will send a signal from both of these capacity sensors into a single AND gate. That AND gate will then send a signal to the center, which is an OR gate. And likewise, over here, the way I've got it set up is, well, the opposite. It sends a signal if the observed inventory is less than or equal to 0%. So therefore, this station is doing the exact same thing as both a loading mode and an unloading mode simultaneously. So this is set up in the same way. So two capacity sensors are sending simultaneous or could be simultaneous signals to an AND gate. That AND gate will then send a signal to the OR gate. So, yeah, pretty fun stuff there. So, yeah, that's pretty much how that works. And from there, the way this works is another thing you need to keep in mind is your entrances and exits to your various routes. This one over here, I've got it set up in kind of a little bit of a wishbone, but what you want to pay attention to primarily is the directionality of your I suppose your exit routes and your entrance routes, and that's not incredibly necessary to mess with until you start doing routes like I do, where I have like these little lasso routes where they enter and exit from the same junctions at different points on the routes and where it's going. So ordinarily this train would enter into this station, coming in from this direction and moving in. So in this case it would be moving from south to north in here to drop off its cargo. It would then follow this track into the little lasso, which I've featured on some of my other videos. So that way it's going to go in through here, and then it's going to come in, and it's going to enter the same that it exited from. Okay? So then it's going to go into the station here. It's then going to get a signal from this sensor saying that the cargo is empty, which will then go through the OR gate, and it'll trigger the sensor on the train stop, telling the train that it's okay to depart. So, I wish I could get a live demonstration of this, but the train that's currently on this route is over here, stuck in unloading mode, so we might have to run over there and, get it to go. I mean, I guess I could, well, no, actually. See, here's the thing. The way that I've set this route up is I need this to unload everything in order for it to work for the rest of its function. Because the way this works is it unloads here, and with an empty train, it'll then follow this track all the way over here to where it's doing more loading and unloading. So it's loading up the raw ether, and it's loading up on wood, and then it takes this track, and it comes in all the way through here. And then it will enter through here, through this gate, and then it'll be facing north, as opposed to, it exiting south. So it'll be facing north, and then it'll line up with these tracks. So you need to be cognizant of what could be in your train's cargoes at any given point on its rail, like its rail route, and you need to figure out, you know, optimally how things will pan out as far as where it is in the track. So, like, if this train left here and didn't empty both of its cargo wagons, we would have a problem. Because by the time it would get here, it wouldn't be able to fill up on what's necessary, and then it would make it all the way back over here, and it would mess up the whole thing. So you got to be a little bit careful of how you do these routes. And needless to say, this only really works if you have a train on a specific dedicated route. But anyway, I've got another interesting setup, which I haven't fully tested yet because of the length of the tracks and stuff like that. But I did a little bit more with logic and sensors and how to try and deal with trains that are going on the same track but in opposite directions, and how to avoid that if possible. And I think I figured out a way to do it, but yeah, it's still kind of a work in progress. Like this train right here that I would be testing with is currently stuck here in unloading mode. So it's waiting. This is the one we actually set up in an episode. I think it was episode 39, actually. This is the Stone Spike episode that we did for automating stone spikes, and we set up the rail route for it, for the clashy sparks. So in episode 40, I'll be actually completing hooking this up, which that was a couple days ago. But anyway, yeah. Tell you what, let's move up to where I did the most of the work, and I'll try to explain how I did it, and hopefully it makes sense as I explain it. If you have any questions in regards to how I set up the routes and how they work and stuff like that, please let me know, and I will try to answer them. I've been trying to do better at answering some of these specific logistics questions that you guys might have. But if you have any questions in regard to you know, how I set up my logic and stuff like that, feel free to let me know. And just so everybody can see. Another fun thing I did, which is not necessary at all, is what I did was I set up LED sensors like this, and they are routed to the capacity sensors. So at the same time that they send a signal to the gate or to the station, if they're full, then these lights will activate, which is fun, but completely unnecessary and doesn't add anything really useful to the build. I just felt like doing it because I was testing stuff. But anyway, here's how my station is routed. You can ignore this wire that's leading off here and this wire that's leading off here. But if you want to see how these are done, here you go. This is how I've got it routed. And yeah, I will see you at the next little section of this video while I try to talk through some of the other logic and stuff that I set up. Okay, here we are. So, oh man, how do I explain this? Okay, so the idea behind this is I have two trains on one route, which one train, actually technically both trains are going both ways on this section of this rail right here. So this section right here, where you can see this double rail, technically two trains are going through this route. Okay? Now I wanted to set this up in a particular way so that instead of relying on, signals like this train with this indicator go this way, this train with this indicator go this way, which would be the easy way to do this, by the way. Do not do this the way that I'm doing this. This is just supposed to give you ideas, but the way that I did it is the hard way to do this. But anyway, okay, let's start with the entrance here. This is a train that goes all the way over here, and it gathers from where I have all of my little spark gathering here. So this is where I get my lomies, my carries, my choppies, and my crafties. So this train will load up here, and I've got this set up in stop mode right now. We can actually send that train out. But the way this train works is it loads up here on Choppy Sparks. It's going to go along this route. It's going to go into its main track. It's then going to go up this way. Ignore all the serpentines and everything through here. And then it's going to go currently where I'm standing. Okay, now on this right here, I've got this set up in stop mode. So the way this works is I've got a NOT gate and a buffer gate. All right? So the way this works is it's tied all the way into a button right here. All right? Now, I've mentioned this before in some of my train videos, but a train that travels above a pressure sensor via the track will activate any buttons that are just below the track itself. So when a train passes on this track that I'm currently standing underneath, it will activate this. And the way this works is when this is activated, it will send a signal to this gate, this train pole, to stop. So the way that functions is if a train is coming from this side, so north to south, and it triggers that button, which I think it's this button right here. If it triggers this button, if a train happens to be coming through this direction, it will stop at this pole, which means it'll give time for the train that's going north to south time to continue along the route with hopefully no interruption to the train that's coming south to north. So that's one way that I'm using a stop mode receiving signal. And so I've got this hooked up to the a buffer gate, which is hooked up for 10 seconds. This could probably be 5 seconds, but I just chose to use 10 seconds. But anyway, so that's hooked up that way to hopefully stop the train from this train that's currently coming in here. So if pretend I'm a train. If I was a train and I was coming through here, I would trigger this. Okay, let's say that I'm going, from north to south, and I'm a train. All right, so I trigger this button, and then it's gonna stop here for however long, 10 seconds or whatever. So I'm a train. I've activated that button. And now, if this stop signal, see how it stopped? See if this stop signal wasn't activated, there's a chance that as I was traveling south, I could have run straight into that train. Now, the only time it's a problem when you have two trains on a track is if they are going into each other. If they are traveling along the same route, like i.e. south to north and south to north, they will wait for each other to get out of the way. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, I can follow this train and show you the next part of what's going to happen. This button right here. See how that button got pressed? What that button does is it's sending a signal to this route right here. So you can see a splitter on this train pole. Now it's pointing to the right. What I've got is I've got buttons on each of these train poles. Okay? Got buttons on each of these train poles, so if a train is traveling in this route, it's constantly sending signals to this train pole and this train pole to divert traffic into this parallel rail. So the way that works is if a train happens to be coming from this direction, but there's already a train on this rail, it will tell the other train to use the alternate route. You get it? You see what I'm saying? This train is just it's gonna be an unloading mode, which is fine. Okay, let's continue along the route. Continue along the route, and I'll explain the other thing I did with this. But yeah, you can see I've got it set up here. You want to make sure that your wires don't actually touch your train poles, because there is a logic thing in each of these. So you have to be a little bit careful about how you're placing the wires. I would recommend, if you're doing these types of sensors, unless you're on a straight track like this, like if you have any bends, unless you're on a straight track, place your buttons on the squares next to your train poles. That way you can guarantee the trains have the best chance of actually passing over that button. So the way I've got these set up is directly next to the train poles, especially if they're on a 45-degree angle as opposed to, a 90 or a 180 or whatever. Okay, so this is the last button which will activate another stop gate over there, but that's not what I wanted to talk about. You want to make sure that you have got another buffer gate over here activating this train pole. This is the... Oh, here, you can see it doing its thing. So it's going to be along the main route. So it's going to go and do its thing down that way. Where is that other... Oh, yeah, it's still over here. Yeah, it's never going to get unloaded, so that's fine. But this is going to keep doing its thing. You can see that since it's on this main track, it has activated the this train pole, which has... If there was another train coming from either the north or the south, it would have diverted into this other rail and then rejoined onto the track. So that's a very complicated way to do it. You're better off using the actual like ID tags on things and setting up separate routes and stuff like this. This is mostly just because I wanted to experiment with it. But who knows, if you don't want to mess with that or you have multiple trains coming through this type of a setup, then yeah, that could work. And theoretically, you could split these off, any amount of times, but you do have to keep in mind that you are limited by the amount of space, because technically, oh yeah, and the way that I've got this set up right now is this train itself activates this button, which will then obviously stop it on its exit of the trail, which I haven't seen if that conflicts yet. I might need to move this pole down slightly in order to make sure that the this wagon isn't in the way, but I don't think it's in the way. But yeah, I don't know. But one thing you want to keep note of is if you do decide to do this type of a setup where you've got a train pole that goes off into a parallel track to divert traffic and stuff like that. Basically, I think I was calling this a bypass route while I was setting it up. But anyway, you want to make sure that you have as little space in between these types of entrances and exits to the bypass. Unfortunately, you can't take this bypass and put it straight into this type of a junction. From what I've seen, you can only have one off split for this type of a pole. But yeah, I haven't figured out like exactly how all this works. Like, yeah, you can't actually add on to this. So like if I put this here, it wouldn't give me the indicators if I wanted to attach that here. You got to look for these indicators right here where it'll tell you where it's possible to connect to any given track. So I think right now you can only have one individual hookup, which isn't inherently a problem just yet, but it does limit some things. Yeah, so it's like if I wanted to... Because what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a track like this, which connected similarly to something like this, and have it just go straight off and completely bypass the straightaway, but you can't do it. So, unfortunately, I had to make do with what I could. So that's why I've got this awkward little like section in between the poles. And you could shorten this if you wanted. I think the minimum amount of length between train poles is yeah, it's 2 spaces in between. So technically that's a whole track. So realistically, if you really wanted to do that, it's kind of funny that you can set something like that up too, which I have no idea what the purpose of something like that would be. But yeah, theoretically, that's how you'd want to do it. Like, if I wanted to make this even more efficient, I would get rid of this pole, move it down like 2 squares, and then, do that. But this short a distance, I don't think will be a problem. Famous last words, I know. But yeah, as far as that route is concerned, that's pretty much it. Where is this train on this route? You're not here. Are you still over here? Yes, you are. Okay, so you're at 12 left, huh? Man, really? 12 left. Huh. Let's get rid of these first off. Let's head over here real quick to where I've got that set up. This is my secondary processing unit / line for making exclusively extra rock sparks. Here it is. And what this is doing is this is actually getting rerouted to this pre-existing train station that I've got. I've got how many do I have going into here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. I think I've got 6 different Rocky Spark creation going over here because I'm using so many Rocky Sparks for different things. I've got yeah, I've got some interesting stuff going. Also, how in the world do you have rocks in your inventory, by the way? There's some stuff going on, by the way, with my game. I've put so much stuff into this save so far that routes and stuff like that are getting confused. Um, so I think there is a natural limit to what you can do with these saves right now. Like, I have no idea how this guy got a rock. Uh, no clue. I think it has something to do with how the map loads as you're moving forward. If you've got so much activity and so much stuff going on, um, it can kind of screw with some of your your characters and how they're walking and stuff they manage to get on their routes. Um, so I don't know if I'm reaching the technical limits on this save. I think I am though, because it's getting kind of hard to throw sparks sometimes, and yeah, I'm sure all this spaghetti going through this is not helping at all. But yeah, as far as the scale of my little factory is concerned, I mean, I've got a lot of little things everywhere, as you can see. Um, so yeah, I think I'm reaching the technical limits on my save, which is almost 80 hours. It's probably 80 hours by the time this video's done. Um, so there is kind of a hard limit on, you know, what you can do in any given save. So yeah, you can see my little zip line with the Rocky Sparks coming through to this train station. Uh, but anyway, let's clear this train out. Look at all these sparks, man. I'm overproducing on these sparks by so much now. It feels good. Uh, but yeah, I think I wanted to put a couple more crates down here. Let's go with that, I guess. And we'll just do that, I guess. Sure, why not? Doesn't need to be super pretty. Um, yeah, you see how that guy threw twice? That was one throw that I did. The game is taking longer and longer to process my actions as I'm doing them. Setting up stone paths is actually a little bit of a chore now. Uh, like, if I set up a decent length... Okay, so this train's now going off and doing its thing. Tell you what, let's ride this train, and when we get to the next stop, I'll pick up with my explanation for what I'm doing. So I'll speed this along. All right, we're just about to pull into the station, and I can explain another little fun thing that you might not have realized that you can do, but it's pretty obvious once you think about it. Let's stop mode this. So, the thing that that you may not have realized, but you know, will sound incredibly obvious once I tell you, is you can load trains from different directions. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is exactly what you're looking at. I'm loading from the left side, and I'm loading from the right side. So I've got two of these little wagon loaders set up, but they're flipped, opposite of each other. So, pretty obvious once you think about it, but, you know, not everybody might think of that. So, yeah, there you go. Pretty fun stuff there. I've got a little two-way splitter here set up. Another little two-way splitter, which feeds into all three total, which is pretty fun. But yeah, this is my wood wagon, and also my raw ether wagon, which this takes a second to load up. But yeah, I think I can turn off stop mode now. It's gonna take a minute until that figures out what it's doing. How you guys doing? Everybody producing over here? Yeah, all of them are producing. That's good. You got that set up. You're set up. You're set up. You're set up. Good. I could actually probably add more onto this line now that I'm looking at it, because yeah, they're producing a pretty fair amount, I gotta say. Yeah, this is staying completely stocked up. Pretty good. Not too bad. Yeah, and I've just got a couple of loggers set up over here. This is pretty close to where we do our coal production, which is fun. How are we looking? Almost done. All right. Hitch another ride, and we'll meet back up at the other station. So I'll go ahead and speed through this again, and when we get to the next station, or where we started this video, I'll let you see the actual unloading of the train, which will then reroute back around and do the loading, and then it'll just go through the whole route that we just showed. So I will go ahead and see you momentarily. Okay, we're just about to pull into the station now, and you can see we're moving past that wishbone we talked about earlier. So this is past the exit train route here. We're going to go ahead and do our unloading, which eventually I have to do something about how much ether we have, because our ratios are way off. Like, we're going to use up this wood incredibly quickly. That's probably fine, but yeah. Yeah. So that sent the signal for empty along the right side there. We're going to be on this route here. This will re-enter the station, but facing in the opposite direction. I'm sure you can tell, though, just watching the train move along, but it's moving way slower than than it feels like it should be, which is a little funny. But okay, so this is going to re-enter the loop. And it's going to start rapidly loading up all of the sparks. Shouldn't take too long to load up. Just a few circles. And we can see the LEDs here. So these two LEDs correspond to those two. So once the one on the right fills up, this is going to light up, and then once this one fills up, it's going to light this up. It's going to be pretty, yeah. So you can see this one's, at a glance, you can see that this train car is now full. Then once the other one fills up, which should be done pretty quickly, I think, that's going to go ahead and light up, and then it'll send the signal for the, yep, there it goes. It'll send the signal for the train to go, and we've still got a lot left over here for them to pull from. So you can see we're definitely overproducing on a lot of this. So this train's going to exit this route, rejoin the main route here, and go all the way up and unload eventually over here. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. We're back where we started. This has been a little bit meandering as far as how I've set it up. I don't really have a whole lot of, things that I plan to do with some of these videos. I just want to share a little bit of stuff with you guys. Now that we've got some stuff here, I think I could actually get away with adding more sparks to this line. So let's You see how they're kind of lagging behind on the tossing animations? Like, I actually don't know how many just got tossed there. I assume it was 4 when I meant to throw 5. Yeah. But now that we've actually got a surplus of wood, we can temporarily fund all of these workbenches. So that's pretty fun. Now we're just kind of waiting to run out of the wood on this one. But yeah, as far as that is concerned, I think that's going to do it. I don't know how useful these types of videos are. It really kind of depends. You guys are going to have to let me know what you think of these videos. But truth be told, I don't know how much longer I can keep going with this series, and it's not because I'm not enjoying it. It's because I don't know how much more the game can take. It's getting a little bit slow. It's getting a little bit slow, and I haven't even touched into some of the more complicated things yet. Like, I still have, like, half of the map to explore. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll have to wait for a quality patch or something like that to get, set up to help improve performance or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. As it is, though, I'm still enjoying it. But, yeah, there's that route. There's the little offloading and all that stuff set up. This train is still over here in loading mode, which that's empty now because I don't have any more choppy sparks to load up, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Not too crazy here. Just another fun little setup. Oh, good. You did actually manage to unload everything in a relatively quick manner. Good. So yeah, I will see you all in the next video. If you have any suggestions of things you would like to see, then, feel free, let me know down below, and I will try to accommodate where possible. But yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.